Hey everybody, let's quickly go over what you need to do your toolpath setup for the plasma cutter using SheetCAM. So we've opened up SheetCAM from the desktop and we've said file and we've said new job, and I'm just going to make sure you guys have seen the new job here. Do I want to save the changes? No. So I have a brand new job with the 4 foot by 4 foot material set up. What we're going to do now is say file and we're going to say import drawing. And what we're going to want to do is through the class share find the drawing that we want to use. So if we were to find any one of these particular drawings, I guess I'll just grab a random one here and hit open. It's going to bring in the drawing. The drawing has to be a DXF file, and it can be nested in a different software so it can use the material a little bit better. After we've imported in the drawing, notice that any closed contour that's going to cut on the inside is going to be yellow, and any closed contour that cuts on the outside is going to be red. Sometimes we run into issues with that. Also, if it's a white contour, it means that the contour is not correctly closed, meaning that a corner, if we were to zoom way in, might either not be connected or have a part that is overlapping and it's not actually closing the contour. So it can tell us pretty quickly if we have errors with our drawing or not. Back to what we're doing here, we want to do a new jet cutting toolpath operation, and we're going to pick the layer that we wanted to cut on, and then we're going to pick our tool size. So if we are cutting 10 gauge material or 11 gauge material, we're going to want to click tool 3. If we're cutting anything thinner than that, we're going to go ahead and leave it at tool 1. Some of the options that we have in here is our lead in and lead out, and normally I do a perpendicular lead in and an arc lead out, and that just makes it easier for me to see the starts and the stops if I need to resume a part later on. If you need to add cutting tabs, holding tabs, you can go into cut path, and there's an option for holding tabs up here, and I really like for the rules to keep parts together. That way it cuts in order instead of cutting out all the mountains and then coming back to cutting out all the outside ones. If you needed to add holding tabs, you can add the holding tab of the length of 0.080 and the minimum number of tabs, and then the tab spacing kind of just depends on the overall size of the parts, and then you have to click place tabs. If you don't need to add tabs, that's totally fine. This is normally for smaller parts that sometimes fall on the water table. We're going to say OK, and notice that we now have a tool path that we can see on here, and let's make sure that we're in the view toolpaths mode. So we have our and we can move on from there. Now after we have our toolpaths established and it's where we want it to be, all we need to do is hit this button up here or say file, and we're going to run our post process. Notice it's the same as this button right here. We're going to run our post process and we're going to save it where we need it to be, and then we will just say save, and now it has correctly run our post process. If you run into an issue with the post process, it's probably because there are comments or parentheses around the name of there, and then it ends up doing what's called a nested comment, and it doesn't read the G code correctly. But after we finish this, you can move on over to the MAD 4x4 user interface and grab that from there, which is another video. Thank you.